Hi, my name is Keith and I'm known as the Florida Stone Man, and this is going to be a fun video for me to make, but it's kind of an unfortunate one because I've actually come across this so many different times, but I haven't fully recognized it because you just assume the best in everyone. Even the worst of people, you assume that there's something there for them to learn. But this video I'm going to be talking to you today is all about being alive but not living. What do I mean by this? If you see me wipe my face a few times in the video, I'm just sweating because it's Florida and it's nice and hot out here. I like the nice heat and humidity of this weather. This video is really going to resonate with some of you, and this video might really wake some of you up. It's really unfortunate to what I've been catching, basically with my eyes, with my ears, with my mind in society, because I make it an effort to not go out into certain places like Targets or supermarkets and stuff like that. I try to get everything delivered to my house. I just do my best to not intertangle with too much of society because it's kind of sad to see how a lot of people are living. And it could be just in my country, it could just be in my state. I don't really know. It's just a personal preference, but one thing I've been encountering is people who are alive, but people who don't live. People who are literally lessening themselves, they're doing it by a default. I've talked about this before in different videos, saying your vibration is going up or it's going down. You're either ascending and becoming something new, or you're becoming a part of the past. Certain crystals can teach us that. Petrified wood is a good example of this. So you'll see petrified wood is actually a tree that Mother Nature decided, hey, this is gonna be a crystal now, this is gonna radiate power for eternity. And then there's other wood around the petrified wood that became rotten wood and became dust. So that's essentially what's happening in society. Most people are not even aware of it. The spiritual people are going to be more aware of it because we have two sides of our body. We're 50% flesh and 50% spirit. If you don't believe that, what happens when someone's not in their body and not reacting? If you ever watched Game of Thrones and spoiler, whatever happens to the guy is basically when I'm not going to spoil character names, but this is when I watched TV way back then. She asked for him to be alive, but he was just a pulp. He was just living, and she got her wish. But that wasn't really life. That wasn't really living. Same thing applies. You just see people out here who are just getting by. People who have no emotion. People who are just void. And it depends on people's cultures as well. Certain families, certain cultures. But actually, from what I've found out, it doesn't even matter, because even with time, certain cultures are kind of losing their zest, losing the passion. So people are lifeless. People have no life in them. You can talk to someone, but it feels like you're talking to nothing. I don't want to say talking to nothing, but it feels like you're talking to a wall, and you can feel it, and it doesn't feel good. You have to ask yourself what's happening, what's going on. People are becoming desensitized. People stop feeling emotion. And this is studied across several different cultures and stuff like that. People are in friendships and relationships. People go throughout their families, and then if you ever notice in this day and age, the value of family is lessening. People are not close to each other like that. People, they'll go to family parties, they won't even hug a single family member, and they'll call each other family. They just get along. They just function, but they're not alive. Like they're talking and they're communicating. People have these friends. People are just getting by. People think just by having someone you talk to is a friend, when people have completely lost all the sense and value of their soul. People go void without love. And even Corinthians talks about this. Motorcycle pulling up, but to know love is to know God, and people don't know love anymore. They don't have a love for their passions. They don't have a love to do something they desire. People are just working jobs and just counting years go by and not really doing anything they desire, anything they love. They've trained themselves to the point where they just don't really care about their passions because they don't think they can achieve the passions. They think that other things, materialistic things, actually come before the passions. And what do you know? How many years goes by and you forgot your passions? You're fully lost. You're disassociated. You're just getting through life, and you don't know what's going on. And it's really sad. Why is this happening? Why is this giant portion happening? One, it's upbringing. upbringing has a major thing to do with it, but you have to combat upbringing. You can't blame your upbringing on everything. People like to blame astrology for everything. When a planet goes into retrograde like Saturn, people think it's okay to not learn lessons. Yeah, that's going to really bite you in the butt, and when Saturn's out of retrograde, you're going to be in trouble. It's just, and one of the biggest things too, people neglect their spirituality. So let's talk about this again. So if you're just a body, and you're just flesh, and there's no spirit in there, you're just going to be like, oh, you're not going to be there. Your spirit basically drives your body. This is a vehicle. The body is a temple. Now, when you're just spiritual, when you're just worried about your spirit and you're not taking care of your body, you see it with people who are very overly spiritual. They'll have every health problem in the world, and they're more like namaste, and they're having all these health problems that they don't take care of, and they're just so worried about their spirituality to the point where they don't worry about their body. And it actually creates a very major imbalance. Then you have someone who's super ungrounded, and they're getting through life without getting through life. They're just suffering and miserable, and they don't address that your spiritual body has to meet your physical body 50-50. Same thing with the law of gender plays into a role in this. You can't just have masculine and you can't just have feminine. This is a universal law. Our body is divided into two halves, if you don't know that. It's not about man or woman. It's about masculine and feminine, which people don't get. Even in ancient Egypt, the pharaohs, the people who sat on the thrones knew this. They had pharaoh cylinders. They have different things to make sure that their masculine and their feminine was in complete balance, so that when they govern people and when they lead people, that they're in a right state of mind. Now, your masculine and feminine just goes beyond like man and female, because people really don't know what masculine and feminine is anymore. I talked about this in previous videos, but your masculine side is more on your right side, your yang, and your feminine's on your yin. You receive energy, you project energy, but it has to do with different qualities of nurturing on your yin and different qualities of what you put out on your yang. So people are just neglecting so many different parts of themselves. If you neglect your spirituality, you're just going to get by. Your chakras are going to be all out of whack. You're going to be fully blocked, and you're going to be permanently blocked without you doing anything. If you feel like you don't have to acknowledge your spirituality, you're doomed. You are doomed. You're not just doomed in this life, you're doomed in the afterlife. You are doomed. You can't just take care of half of yourself. And I see this with people. People, they have the most minor spiritual issues, but they don't address them. And that just comes, that's what creates their life. People without faith, people without God, God's the most important thing. If you're not connecting to God, you're on your own. Angels will help you to a certain extent. Your ancestors will help you to a certain extent, and people think ancestors are just helping you by themselves. No. They actually have angels help you. They have God help you. Sometimes ancestors, especially more the recent ones, don't have enough strength to do certain things, so they ask help from angels, and they ask help from God. So it's just kind of sad to see, because like in this day and age, people, like even just greeting people, you hug people back then, and it's like a family thing. It's like, it's good to see you. I value you. I care about you. Nowadays, people are like, what do you mean a hug? People are cold. People are like dead flesh. And people don't feel fulfilled. They feel void. This is why relationships don't work. This is why people don't have any values. Same thing with just handshaking people. People have become so cold with that. People are becoming colder and colder to a hi, how are you? So maybe in different states, like northern states, people are like, okay, hi, how are you? I'm good. It's good to meet you. It's good to talk to you. Now we're getting to a point where we're hey, how are you? People are like this. Because that person's suffering. That person's miserable. They don't have emotions like that. They've actually nullified their emotions. And I've actually interviewed some of these people. I've asked them 1,000. I've asked several people like 100 to 1,000 just random questions that seem pointless and useless, but it actually points out to just different chakras being blocked because they're just not taken care of. Most of the time, it's for people who just go throughout society and don't have any kind of connection with anything. 100% of the time, they're going to have a blocked crown chakra and a blocked throat chakra. And third eye as well. It's the upper chakras that get blocked. So you're seeing people who walk around like zombies. What did I say about the head? I always talk to you guys about a black tourmaline necklace for my website that does the most. It's because when you don't have a head, you're pretty much not there. So you could not have a head spiritually, but you can have a head physically. What does that mean? You can have a head that operates on a physical basis. So you have a thinking brain, you have a working brain, but the crown chakra centers are off. you're just going to be on autopilot. You're going to have no emotions. You're going to feel a void. You're just going to feel lost in the world. You're not going to know your passions. You're not going to know your purpose. Maybe you're someone in this video that I'm talking about. Like you just realize, and that's what they call a spiritual awakening. You wake up. You're like, uh-oh, I can't do this anymore. I'm not going to do this. I've been doing this for a few lives now, and I've heard certain people say like, oh, well, some people are just living a resting life. I've heard Dolores Cannon say that, and watching some of her videos, I really would have liked to give her more credibility, but from some of the videos, she's been mixing so much truth with deception, and people openly accept it. It's very scary. And she said there's no heaven and no hell. That's completely incorrect. Like, it's a fact. It's a fact. There's a heaven, there's a hell, there's an in-between. If you don't like it, it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. But for people who are just living a resting life, like I said, you're a bird who's flying. We're flying above the waters. We're flying above the ocean. You stop flapping your wings, now you're in the waters. Now whatever's below you is going to consume you. It's really unfortunate, and my job is to wake people up and get people thinking. When I come across just people in public, I'm nice to everyone. I'm smiling. People sometimes look at me, oh, he's smiling, and they'll smile back and they'll feel something because I just lit them up. If I'm a burning flame, and there's these other flames around me who are easily, all you have to do is just pass a little fire, and it's not going to take away from your flame because you're a bonfire. Smile at someone, and that'll get them thinking. They'll be like, oh, I feel happy. Why? They'll be kind of be like, why am I feeling happy? Like, just smile at someone to help them. People want to work on their crown chakras, their third eye chakras, their throat chakras first. Work on your root chakra. Work from the bottom chakras up and push that energy up. Another thing you can do to not just be alive or just be living without being alive. What are your passions? Okay, on the earthly realm, in this realm, it's okay to be materialistic, but not overly materialistic. It's okay to be like, I like my shoes, I like my shirts, I like this. It's completely fine, as long as you're not obsessed and that's not governing your life. Now, if you've hit the point where you're like, okay, my passion is money. Money's paper. It's currency. It's an extension of your mind. If that's your passion, I mean, sometimes with people it is. For people who gamble, okay, but even that, the people's passion is playing and having an adrenaline rush from winning. It's just, essentially, it's a law of mathematics being put into effect, and kind of like a game of chance. It's invigorating for the mind. What invigorates your mind? Do you like, and just ask yourself, it's not that complicated. What do you like to do if money didn't exist? And I'm going to get to that in a second. If money was not a thing and didn't exist, and you can do anything you want on the planet, no matter what would you be doing? What's your passion? No one's following their passion. People are zombies now. People are living a life, and they're not having any thoughts. They're getting through their day without thoughts. I didn't think this was possible until recently, but I've seen certain examples. There are certain people who will go throughout their day with no thoughts in their head. How is that possible? Because they're not thinking. They're doing other things besides thinking. They're just being automatic. Now, when that person reaches a certain point in their life, it's going to be too late. Too late. You reach the afterlife and you're a husk. You're a hollow husk. Because you had no values, no passions, no faith, no anything. Some people they claim to have faith. Some people go to church. They go to church and they're still not at church. People want to move closer to God, but they don't do it from within. They try to do it outside of themselves. Work on yourselves. Ask yourself, what makes you happy? Money wasn't a thing. What makes you happy? Money's just paper. You don't take that in the afterlife. It's just currency. It's an extension of your mind frame. If you would like to have more money, fix your mindset. Our society programs us to believe that money is hard to make, that wealth is hard to achieve. Nothing comes from outside of our heads. If you think that anything comes from outside of your head, that's where you need to begin. Everything is just an extension of our minds. If we have no passion, we have no fire. That's why I suggest for you guys to adjust and fix and align your lower chakras, because when you move that energy up, you feel a new fire about you. The sacral chakra, the solar plexus chakra, the lower chakras, the root chakra. Those get the inner furnaces going. People don't want to work on the lower chakras because they're not interesting. They're not, you don't see visions. You don't have passion to see visions if you're not working on your lower chakras. Find your values. Become more warm as a person. Some people in this day and age are so cold, and if you don't believe that, go out in society, go to a restaurant, go to a mall, and some people are cold, and that's not benefiting them. As cold as they are in this life, they will be as cold in the afterlife and as cold and alone. Some people are okay with that until they find out that, oh, I've been off. And some people will get an afterlife, and the first thing that they realize is, oh my God, I've been off track. Like, I haven't been living. I was just there. I was just in the freezer. I was just frozen. All this time went by, and I never did anything I liked. And the person in the afterlife, they realize, hey, I like painting. I did painting in past lives. Hey, I did drawing, sightseeing, traveling, history. All these different things that they never got to do just because they were an autopilot. And no one's ever thought to think. Just like the sheep all together in a flock, you take one of those sheep out, you train the sheep becomes smarter. The sheep actually becomes more advanced in the flock. If you want to become more advanced in the flock, evaluate your passions. Your passions are the most essential thing. Take care of your spirituality and find value in others. Like I said, if you're just navigating, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. If you can't connect to another person, if you're not an empath, that's where you need to begin. If you cannot connect to another person, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, you're cold. Don't just get through your day. That's not life. You can be alive without living. And I've seen this with so many people, and I'm helping people with it now. I'm getting a new patience and a new tolerance to help people, because it shocked me at first. I've seen some people who are close to me just start being on autopilot, and I'm like, what's this? What is this? Like, it's disturbing. You're living, but you're not alive. Where are you? You're not here, and you're halfway in between somewhere else. So I have to have a new mind frame when helping people like this, because my job is to wake people up. The easiest way to wake people up is get people into spirituality, but start with your passions. Find out what makes you happy if money wasn't a thing, and that's where you begin. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Ciao.